Today on FSI, we are breaking down the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers from a betting perspective. Now, we're currently 31-11 in our official moves on Twitter, so make sure you're following that account. I'm your host, Tom Cross, and to my right is our analytics expert, Stephen Boo.
Thanks for tuning in this week. The Browns are on the road as a 6-point underdog. They're plus 220 on the money line, and the Steelers, they're minus 260.
The Cleveland Browns and Pittsburgh Steelers matchup, I'm really not shocked by this spread at all. And the reason why is that the Browns basically beat the B team of the Steelers. Now, the Steelers did play some starters, but it makes sense at the Steelers minus 6 in this matchup.
This will be the third time this season that the Browns and the Steelers have matched up, and each team won one game in the regular season. Now, on week 17, the Steelers did rest all of their players because they're favoring rest over momentum for the playoff race.
By now, we should know that Baker Mayfield is not capable of leading this team. It's led by Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Now, you see this in his inability to be able to beat the Jets and secure a playoff spot, but he has two healthy running backs, healthy tight ends, and receivers, and nobody had COVID this week for the Browns, so everybody looks like they're healthy to go, and this will really help Baker Mayfield out a lot.
Ben Roethlisberger has thrown a respectable 33 touchdowns this year. That ranks him 6th best among all quarterbacks, but his ability to move the ball is second to last at only 6.3 yards per throw. And he hasn't had a great season since 2018, and he's not getting any younger right now.
The Cleveland Browns offensive line is their most improved position group of the season. Hats off to that offensive line and the coach for getting them up to par because last year they were atrocious. Now, when I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line, it was elite. One of the best in the league when obviously they had all their pass rushers on the field. I feel like that team might be 16-0. But they are playing with two effective pass rushers in Cam Heyward and TJ Watt on the outside. Now, against the B team, they did allow Baker to be sacked or pressured 25% of the time. With Watt and Heyward back in the lineup, I feel like that number will increase. So I do think there is an advantage here for the Steelers on the defensive line.
The Pittsburgh pass protection has allowed a league-low 14 sacks this year at a rate of just 2.1%. And part of that is Ben's ability to get the ball off really quickly. He has the quickest snap-to-throw time among any quarterbacks. But I've noticed he's had some issues going through his progression when he throws that quick. So I think this might be actually favorable for the Browns' pass protection.
For the Browns, their wide receiver core is very depleted. Now, they got two good tight ends, and obviously they got Jarvis Landry on the outside. I do not think that's enough to beat this Pittsburgh Steelers secondary, which is one of the best in the league. So I got to give an advantage here to a rested Joe Hayden and that Pittsburgh Steelers secondary.
The Steelers' receiving core doesn't have a true number one option. They have 3 good receivers, but none of them are a true alpha of the pack. Now, they are up against the Browns defense that are giving up 7.2 yards per pass, so getting separation shouldn't be too challenging here.
The best part about the Cleveland Browns is their running backs. They are one of the best in the league. Now, when I look at Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, they complement each other very well. The Pittsburgh Steelers are missing their linebackers. I feel like that's a big vulnerability for them, and the Browns should be able to effectively run the ball, but there's also an adverse effect. When you know that Baker Mayfield can't beat you, you play one-on-one the outside, and you commit everybody to stopping the run. So I think this matchup will actually be a draw at the end of the day because I do feel like they will do that.
The Steelers' passing offense is the second worst in efficiency, but the rushing has captured the title of the worst rushing in 2020. Now, they don't really have an effective way to move the ball, and they're up against an above-average run defense that's given up 4.2 yards per rush. I don't think Steelers are going to move the ball very well on the ground.
I like the Pittsburgh Steelers in this matchup, and I like the secondary of the Steelers. I think they're very strong in the back end, and obviously their defensive line is one of the better ones in the league, despite missing so many pass rushers. Now, when I look at what Ben can do, he's coming off a bye week. He's able to study that secondary of the Browns, and he has stud wide receivers. Although they cannot run the ball, and that's a huge weakness for the Steelers, I do feel like they are going to be able to pass. And because the Browns don't have a very good rush defense, they might be able to run a little bit. At the end of the day, I do like the Steelers in this matchup, but I'd be much more comfortable taking the money line, but I would take them -7 or 6 if I had to.
Although the Steelers have a premier defensive unit, their offense cannot move the ball at all. I would be surprised if they scored more than 2 possessions without the assist of their defense. Now the Browns, they're very dangerous with their running offense, and the weakest part of the Steelers defense is actually their run defense. So if you can get the Browns to +7 on this game, I think that's a lock for this matchup.
Now remember, we can't predict injuries, PEDs, or COVID, or the weather. So make sure you follow our Twitter for our official moves. A lot of these plays are coming down to the last hour and a half before the game, so I can get the inactive and active report. That does it for us. Do me a favor, smash the like button and subscribe. Tell us who you'll be taking in the comments below.
We don't care about favorite teams here. Our focus is on making you money. Follow our social media on Twitter, Instagram, or our webpage. The links are below.